It's my privilege and honor to welcome on stage two gentlemen who have truly been the example of being startups off the beaten track. I don't know if one of them is a startup. Both of them make money. Please welcome on stage, and no particular order, Hitesh Bhatia from Noodle Play, and I'll introduce you as you come up on stage, and Akshay Varde from Vardenji. So Hitesh runs Noodle Play. He's a hotel management graduate. It's a fun noodle-based venture. They have a stall there. Hitesh, are you charging money for that? Are you charging money? No, excellent. It's all free food, so that's good. He loves cooking, traveling, writing, and is also currently pursuing his passion for photography. Prior to this, he was CEO of Think People Solutions, a pan-India venture. That did, yeah, please. Oh, okay, I'll just introduce both of them. Akshay didn't give me a profile, but I'm very happy to say, a good old friend of mine. He's the ideal startup story if you look at it like this. In his previous avatar, and I think that's the only previous avatar you had, he was a purser on a particular airline, the name of which we'll not mention. Okay? But he said he got tired of saying veg, non-veg. So he said, let's do a motorcycle company. You know, how crazy is that? And how many of you have heard of Vardenji, seen Vardenji? Yeah. God uses Vardenji. Yeah, you're right. So he's good looking and he has the cash flow to boot. Gentlemen, I know what. Let me start with the usual questions. All of you have a mic, 10 minutes long, and then we'll throw it open to the audience. And you can take this in any order, Hitesh and Akshay. Why bother? Noodles में क्या है यार? Flipkart क्यों नहीं खड़ा करते? And Akshay, for God's sake, customized bikes? कौन खरीदता है इंडिया में? Why bother with a niche when there is e-commerce to do, when there is .com, real estate, Lakshmi Saraswati, so many things. Sure.
So I think that in my case, since as far back as I can remember, maybe 3 years old, I've been in love with motorcycles. So I think it played a big part in kind of starting a motorcycle venture. However, after being in this 8 years in this business, if I look back, I think it was ridiculous to think that you could start a custom motorcycle company, right? Because I'm not an engineer, and you need engineering. You need a whole lot of operations in manufacturing, which I don't have a background in. You need to know a lot of finance because there's a lot of material which moves every different direction before 650 parts make up a motorcycle. You need to know how to give after-sales service, and you need to know design. You need to know a whole lot of things which I didn't know, right? But I think that I was so passionate about motorcycles, and I think pure belief that I could build one, that I did build one, and it's kind of rolled on from there. But I think primarily the reason of custom motorcycles is because when I was 24 years old, I wanted a motorcycle for myself which would make me feel maybe like what, you know, the whole God, oh my God thing. And so I started out customizing my own motorcycle as a hobby, as something I wanted to do on the side, and then it just took off. So yeah.
Was there a lady involved? Because typically that's when you start graduating from cycles to motorcycles. You know, you don't get any dates if you don't have, you know, I've been there, done that. You know what I mean, right? And plus you don't have you're not good looking either, so you have that problem too. So was there a lady involved? I mean, you can be frank, this is smash up, this is not...
There's always a lady involved in every situation. Why else would you want to be a millionaire?
Exactly. So all this passion and all is all side. It's only the women that matter finally, right? You know, you have a good-looking bike, you're a good-looking guy, just geometrically your chances of a Saturday night date just went up. Am I right, guys? Yeah? Hitesh, what's with noodles? I'm sure there are no women involved in noodles, unless you're trying to make...
So when I was growing up, I was told that, you know, women dig men who can cook. So that's where the inspiration came from. But jokes apart, what actually happened was I think I've been cooking as long as I can remember.
Actually, women marry men who can cook. थोड़ा fundamental difference होता है. Husband or boyfriend material में fundamental difference होता है.
So I had to get married to realize that, you know. I got conned into that. Luckily, she's not in the room, so I can say that. But I think I've loved cooking as long as I can remember. I remember, I think 3, 4, 5, and I would spend time more in the kitchen. than doing anything else. I would love playing with food. As I grew up in hotel management, my mom was my guinea pig. So whatever I would learn, I would come back and say, you know, Mom, I've learned something. Let me try it at home. And mom being mom, true Punjabi, you know, if you've seen two states, that typical, yaar, ye kya gandwala khila raha hai humko, yaar, we are used to parathe and makhan, and that's where it got interesting, because I remember one time I made pasta for her, and she hated it. She was like, I can't, it's bland, it's horrible. So from there on started the journey of trying to first please my mom, and then, you know, a couple of people came over.
This was at what age?
18, 19?
You should have pleased some other women in the internet.
So that led to that, right? So that
It's coming up. It's coming up. Right?
Coming, of course, it always ends up at least to a woman. So it was interesting, you know, the idea of doing something different with food, trying to create something different was very satisfying. Trying to use two different products and creating something that was new. You know, I remember when in our hotel management days, we had a particular day where we had to be the chef, and you had a restaurant which you owned. For the particular day, and the chef and blah blah blah. So I remember having a fusion menu back then also, and I found it very satisfying that at the end of the day, I've not just cooked something, I've been able to use two different cuisines, I've been able to merge two different things and come up with something totally unexpected. So that was very satisfying. Then of course the journey started, and the passion somewhere lost track, and the woman who came in the life wanted money. They said,
They didn't want noodles anymore.
they said you can cook well, very good, but you need the diamonds, and you need the jewelry, and you need the Saturday night outs. So then of course came the want to make more money and और पैसा कमाओ और धंधा करो. So passion किधर गायब हो गया. And eventually I think it wasn't the 7-year itch, it was more of the 10-year itch, which came in and said, you know what, now let's get back to doing something different. And I was very clear that when I start doing something in the food space, it wouldn't be something that that's copied off or that's aped from the West, or it's something that anybody else is doing. It would be you know, I wanted to create something which is up in the head, and said let's look at what we can merge two dishes and create. And I think what motivated me was the feedback that we got. So when you said why bother, it wasn't very difficult, it was very easy. But the feedback that we got, so I mean, can we have a show of hands? How many of you were here the last mashup? Okay, fair amount. Sometime I namak khaya tha, so everybody had the noodles last time. Who's not had the noodles last time? So there, ek ne to namak khaya hai.
Abhi noodles bhi kha le.
Abhi noodles bhi khaoge. So that's where the inspiration came from, that people loved what I was doing. So I said, well, I'm on the right track.
Super. So this is the romantic story, right? This is the women, the bikes, the Saturday night dates. But the fact of the matter is, most startups, and let's be honest here, run out of money at some point of time or the other, right? So there comes a time when you're not meeting payroll, when the passion and payroll are conflicting somewhere. Has that happened to you? I'm sure, right? How many has it happened to? How many are living on... I remember, there is a record label called Fueled by Raymond. Raymond is noodle, right? Pop Raymond. There's a record label called Fueled by Raymond, right? So how many entrepreneurs here are fueled by Raymond? And flying Indigo and doing all of that stuff, right? We've all gone through that. What keeps you go? And Winston Churchill said, right? If you're in shit, if you're in deep shit, keep going. Now it'll solve somewhere. Don't just stand there.
Well, what keeps me going, I think, is the fact that, it's difficult, and there's been times when I've said, you know what, I mean, I'm sorry, but why the fuck am I doing this? Just get up and go. So I've had, so those of you who don't know, I've been an entrepreneur for 13 years before starting this, and I led a fairly comfortable life. I worked 4 days a week. I liked calling myself a startup because we hadn't reached the level, but I didn't live like a startup. I drove a nice car, I took my international holidays, and everything was good. There've been instances where I yet remember for the first time we went live, I came back and we had sold worth some 7,500 rupees on the very first day that we went live. And I came back and I told my business partners and I told my family, "Ki aaj 7,500 ka dhanda kiya." They're like, "Boss." So for them, it was very difficult to accept that you spent a whole days of work, in the entire effort, you toiled, you sweat, and you're not making that kind of money that you were making earlier, which was difficult. The fight was there. But I think what kept me going was I surrounded myself with people who motivated me. I surrounded myself with people who understood what I do and understood the drive. So I did conversations with my family, I did conversations with my friends, and eventually...
Was your mother-in-law part of this conversation? Oh, just asking.
Unfortunately, she's not there anymore, but no. But my wife played the villain, so she did both the roles very well. The mother-in-law and the wife. But yeah, she was part of it, and it was difficult. It was difficult for everybody. For them to accept that I'm not going to be there with them on weeknights. I'm going to work on weekends. I'm going to work Diwali. I'm going to work Christmas, because that's what the restaurant industry calls for. So it was a challenge. But I think they saw the passion. They saw the satisfaction I got at the end of each day. And I think that's what was very easy for them to accept.
Actually, you are in a glamour business, right? You produce great-looking bikes. But what people, I think, miss, and this is true of every industry that is glamorous from the outside, films being another example, it's a tremendous amount of hard work that actually goes into building something that people will like, right? People don't realize that. They only see the output. They really don't see the input. So I'm sure, did you have like a really low point? Because I've seen you from when you started, basically, right? So was there like a really low point when like Hitesh just sat up and said, okay, building bikes is all fine and very nice, but yeah, what the fuck am I doing here?
So, you know, I don't know if any of you all have seen the website of the motorcycles we build. And if I may so say, you know, myself, that the motorcycles look fantastic. They really look stunning, and when you're on them, you really feel great. When I take them to an event or when we're doing a promotion.
Babe magnet.
It's a babe magnet, you're right. And, you know, that's, like he said, that's the glamorous end of the business. Because back in, when I started in 2005, we had a workshop the size of maybe, you know, half, maybe 1/3, right? And like people were discussing earlier, you know, you guys, I mean, the .com and websites, you don't have an office to invite a client. We were selling a motorcycle for the price that you could buy a Harley Davidson, and you'd have to come in this space and have a cutting chai and still pay as much money. And people did it. So, you know, there were many times when, you know, the grease from my fingernails wouldn't go out because I was still learning the trade, learning how to weld, and learning how to paint, and you know, learning how to build these motorcycles before I could build a team that I could train to do the jobs that we were doing, you know. So a lot of the times when you put in a 12, 16-hour day, and you know, you're heading home, you're exhausted, you know, wondering, okay, the guy who's riding the motorcycle that he spent a lot of money for is having a great weekend while you're going home trying to scrub, you know, the grease out of your fingernails. So that's not the only reason why you question. I mean, we've seen all kinds of cash flow issues, technical problems that we've tried to solve. Every kind of issue that there is in this business I've seen. But I think that, you know, like you rightly said, that time passes. And, you know, that's normal for there to be a tough time and for that to roll into, you know, a more rewarding period. And so I didn't give up, and so here I am.
Super. So guys, give it up for the offline guys. Right, because all your balls are belong to us now. Sorry, the women are getting upset. Ma'am, I understand where you're coming from. So my third question, I mean, not really a question, but a subject to discuss around, is that you might have a support system. I'm sure, you know, you can't survive in a business without a support system of people, of friends, of relatives, your significant other. I mean, they're probably the biggest success factor there is to any entrepreneur. Although it is common saying that behind every successful man stands a worried mother-in-law. But, you know, we'll ignore that for the time being. How do you deal with the naysayers? See, because there are a lot of guys who will just come up, and sarcasm and critique is very easy to pass, right? You don't notice the fingernails, the grease under the fingernails. You really don't notice that the kitchen is extremely hot and you know you're making noodles. A lot of people will just come up and say, यार ये सब बकवास है, noodle है यार, मैगी है, छोड़ो. अब तुम क्या कर रहे हो? मैंने गाड़ी पे कुछ पुताई कर रहे हो. I still remember my, you know, when I used to be a DJ once upon a time. So my dad used to say, you're the chap people pay money at weddings to spin records. That's not, you know, अच्छे घर के बच्चे ये सब नहीं करते, right? So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with the negativity? We know that you have to surround yourself with positive people, but once in a while this will break through, right? And that's very critical. Just as it is critical to stay positive, it's also very important to deflect negativity, and I'm sure both of you have had your fair share. Hitesh?
So, I think I've had experiences which have been more negative than positive over the past years. People have come back and said, like you rightly said, ये तो मैगी है, ये तो हम घर पे कर सकते हैं. to अरे ये तो अच्छा नहीं है, तो we've had people come and say तुम दुकान बंद कर दो तो चलेगा ही नहीं. So we've had those shares, and it is in fact it's been fairly demotivating. But I think the way I normally get over it is I normally go to the store. I think there's nothing as better than standing over there, talking to the customer. Four of them might say, five of them might say this is not good, but that one customer who loves it, that expression on his face is worth, worth the entire day. When you work long hours, and we get a lot of kids actually, surprisingly, though the product is not aimed at kids, but we have kids who come to the store and they love it. And their parents, then we eventually sell to their parents, and their parents love it. And it works well for us. So what I also did is I've started keeping a small notepad with me, which I've realized is good things people have said about the business, and I just keep on jotting them down. So eventually started as a notepad, and then so we have a feedback board on the store, and whenever people come in, they scribble their feedback on the board, and we take a snap of that, and I keep that snap in my phone. So whenever I'm feeling really bad, or I'm feeling it's not working and it's not happening, I go back to that. And it's got certain sayings with that. So one of the things that has really driven me, a couple of them in fact. My mentor told me this, and he said, "Ya daro, ya dhanda karo, dono mat karo." You see, if you're either be scared or either do business. If you do both, yes sir.
And no offense to your mentor, but that's a soft drink slogan. No, डर के आगे जीत है. Akshay, anybody tell you, ये तो मैं घर में बना सकता हूँ यार, ये क्या मोटरसाइकिल है?
That's something nobody said, but no, when I started this business, we actually studied hotel money that we're sitting here today. But I took the path to be a flight purser in the time where it was quite a cushy job. There'd be an air-conditioned car that came, picked you up, you went work 6 hours a day, paid you a lot more money than my colleagues in the hotel industry were making in the time. We wore a uniform. I didn't have to spend on anything, right? So when I met people who
You're skipping the air hostess part, but okay, we'll let that slide.
When I started in this business, and I said I will manufacture a motorcycle in an industry where a Bajaj and a Hero Honda manufacture 45 and 26 lakh motorcycles a year, and I wanted to manufacture one. People thought I was crazy, because for a vendor who supplies handlebars to Hero Honda, he's 1,000 times what we are in terms of size of company. So when I would go to local manufacturers to make a part, maybe a handlebar or maybe a seat, and we'd get chatting, and they would say, "Really, you want to quit your job in the airline to do this? Because we are telling our children to quit what we do and get a job in the airline." It was bizarre. And I remember this one time, I was sitting next to a taxi driver who was getting his part repaired from the same place, and he said, "Beta mat karo, bahut thokare khaoge." And he could see, because I had come back, and I was working the time. The first year that I ran the business, I would do 4 a.m. flights so that I could come back and run the workshop from 12 onwards. So I would still be in my uniform, and still get parts made. So yes, there was a lot of confusion in people's eyes when I said I wanted to, do, what you'd call a blue-collar job. But I guess what you have to have is vision. I always knew that it would turn into something larger than just making a single part or, making one motorcycle. We have 25 people, and we have engineers now. We have, management people who are taking this business ahead with me. And so the, the grease under your fingernails and sitting in that, corner shop making one part is worth it.
Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Pritesh and Akshay. Right. So these are both interesting entrepreneurs. I'm going to throw the floor open for questions, just maybe a couple, if you have them. If you don't, then there's no point in keeping you from lunch. Question? Not that question, some other question. Questions related to business. Yes. Remember the Lalu thing I told you?
तो आपने कैसे किया parts by
I didn't mean Hindi. I think My friend, I didn't mean Hindi. I mean, please go ahead, it's a national language and all that. I meant be simple, be simple.
नहीं, मैं हिंदी में बोल रहा हूँ, बिल्कुल मगधी में जाऊँगा तो प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा, वही कान खोल बिल्कुल. So how you went about reverse integration, price कम करवाने का, and again जो bikes manufacture किया है उसको how you will provide these parts for next 5 years, 7 years, because your bike will last this many years.
I think it's a great question, because when I started out, cost was never something that I paid as much attention to as I did to the originality of the design and you know, the quality. Yes, definitely nobody would pay a ridiculous amount of money, so at the back of your mind you know what you're aiming at. What I try to do is find.
Sir, lunch अभी हुआ नहीं है sir, अभी लगा नहीं है. मैं बोलूँगा तभी लगेगा.
So finding parts for such a low volume was near to impossible. Even as I speak today, apart from the engine and major critical things like tires, which are manufactured by large giant companies, we created the systems, trained the people to manufacture everything in-house. So although the place is, was not bigger than this stage, we had the kind of machinery which also we developed and made, the people that we trained to create almost every part of the motorcycle in-house, including everything that you can imagine, the lighting systems, the handlebars, the seats, headlamps, tanks, fenders, everything was done in-house. We couldn't find someone who will paint for the price, we painted in-house. We couldn't find someone who will chrome plate the parts, we put a chrome plant. So we tried to bring everything in-house, and now as we grow, you'll find that we're now looking for partners where we can outsource, because the volume has grown and we find that it's viable for us to partner with companies who do it for us.
Shameless plug about Moto Morini. That's like a huge thing. I saw your bikes in Auto Expo. So 15 seconds on that, because I don't, how many of you guys, I'll let Akshay say this in his own words, because it's really a stupendous achievement.
So,
regulatory problems. You're making custom bikes, getting approvals or getting a bike on the road.
right. So how we tackle that is every component on the motorcycle that we put in is tested as per AIS and BIS regulations. All after the entire motorcycle is completed, we take it to the RTO authorities and get what is called a BIS, a BTBTI form filled out. They actually perform a certain test, note down all the changes that are made to the motorcycle and enter it into your RC book. Every component that we use that is not manufactured by us is certified by a regulatory body, either Indian or foreign. So we take care of most of that. However, we were currently till last year still in a services business where we custom built on an existing platform of Royal Enfield. And we were charging as much as 8 lakhs for a custom motorcycle on a Royal Enfield platform, where the original motorcycle cost only 1.5 lakhs. So some of our customers began to say, listen, we need to take this to the next level. Our customers, our partners, our team. Through 8 years, we were looking for a partner where we could upgrade the performance of this motorcycle. And last year, this quest, found completion with an Italian motorcycle manufacturer called Moto Morini. So Moto Morini is a motorcycle manufacturer who has been around since 1937, has designed and manufactured engines for Ducati. They've been MotoGP champions, and this year we should be able to launch a motorcycle with a 1200cc 140 bhp Moto Morini engine. They are super importers into the country.
And I'll leave Hitesh with the last word. Noodles and burger and a bun. That's what I saw on your stall today.
Yes.
What's that?
So that's the innovation and the play. So we realized that we've done noodles, we've done curries, but what next for us? So we started something called the cook-off that we host every month. The first Monday of the month, we said let's crowdsource recipes. We call in people, they come and they cook for us. So it's interesting because we've sort of turned the table. A restaurant typically is where a customer comes and you cook and you serve. We've turned it around to a model where the customer comes, he cooks and he serves and we eat. And we've sort of...
Who pays whom money?
Nobody does. very soon we're going to start charging, and he's going to pay us money. So we give him the sense of achievement of coming and cooking. And as part of that, we got some really funky recipes. We got something called a noodlette, which is a noodle omelette. We got a rosti, which is Swiss. And we were researching, and somebody said, why not a noodle burger? And then we put together a burger. And that's what we were serving. I don't know how many of you had it today morning, but we were serving a noodle burger today morning. And hopefully we'll serve a noodle taco soon. And if all goes well, noodle paratha soon. And who knows where it takes us to.
And on that note, I have one more question. Yes, ma'am. No, it's okay. You can speak. I'll translate. I'm happy to have any kind of conversation with any women.
That's fine.
But thanks for that.
Thanks very much.
Sure. And on that note, gentlemen, thank you. A pleasure as always. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Akshay and Hitesh.